All right, now that we're set up and ready to go, before we actually start coding anything or talking a little bit about what JavaScript is, let's run a quick test to make sure that our main.js file is connected and configured correctly. Okay? What we're going to do is inside of main.js, it's currently blank, I'm going to write console.log, opening and closing parentheses, and inside these parentheses I'm going to write in quotation marks connected, and then at the end of this line I write a semicolon. That's it, one line of code. What this is going to do is this is going to log this message to our developer console when I reload my page. To show you what that means, I'm going to go into my web page. I'm going to right click and open my inspector. And next to the Elements tab is the Console tab. I'm going to click on that. And currently it's empty because I haven't reloaded yet. But when I reload, we should see connected logged into our console. It even tells us what file and what line it's coming from. Coming from the main.js file, line 1. Okay, so this is a very common way of testing to make sure that your main.js is actually connected. It's a very common way to test that a function is actually working the way you want, or that data types are actually what you're looking for. And we're going to be doing this a lot, console.log, with whatever text we want to log to the console inside those parentheses. Okay, console.log. And this console in Chrome, the developer console, is where we're going to be spending a lot of our time when we're working in JavaScript. The reason is because this console allows us to test things, it allows us to check some of our variables, it allows us to really dig into our code. But more than that, it allows us to actually write code that will affect the site that we see here, live and in real time. Now obviously these changes are temporary, they don't actually affect the code. It's kind of like adding a new CSS property in the Styles tab to test and see how something looks or something works. If you like it and you want to keep it, you still need to go into your code and actually hard code it in. But for example, I can write something like document.write. Let me make this a little bigger. Too big. Document.write, hello world. And I actually see hello world appear on my page. It's been written to my document. Okay, now I'm going to explain how these functions work and how this syntax works in a little bit. This is really just for demonstration purposes. We can go even further than this though. I can do something like document.body.style.background color equals tomato. And I've changed the background color of my body. You may ask, why wouldn't I just do this with simple CSS? Well, that's a good question, and if this were actually my goal, I probably would do this with CSS. But the point of this is to demonstrate that you can affect the live web page which you're viewing from your developer console, thereby testing code or testing something out, checking data types, checking variables. We're going to get into all of this, but that is why the console is very, very useful to us. It's not just for logging messages from our main.js file. We can also actively interact with the web page in order to identify the right way to do things or how a line of code is going to affect what we have already built. Okay? And as I said, if I reload, all those changes disappear. All those changes disappear. Okay? For a better demonstration of how the developer console can affect things, I'm going to go to google.com. Google.com. This is Google itself. This is not the Codify replica. This is not my replica. This is the actual Google homepage. And I'm going to go ahead and type some code into the console, and we're going to see what it does. Don't worry about understanding the code. Again, this is just for demonstration purposes. But this should also show you a little bit of what JavaScript can do and why it can be loads of fun. Okay. Okay, so I typed in that code and hit enter, and if you notice, the Google image, the logo in the center, is actually widening. It's expanding every half a second. I'm not going to explain this code just yet, but we're increasing the width by 5 pixels every 500 milliseconds, or half a second. And this is actually happening. This is running on a loop. I'm not doing anything. All I needed to do was hit enter, and now every half a second, the width of this image, which says Google, is increasing by 5 pixels. And it's going to do that forever until I tell it to stop. So let's try that again just a little bit faster. There we go. And there it goes. Okay, so this is some of the ways in which the console can affect a live website. Now, I'm not actually affecting the Google servers. The Google homepage is not going to be displaying this gigantic image for everybody who ever goes to google.com. This is just me, just for preview purposes. And as soon as I reload, it will be reset. But if I wanted to test this function and see how it affects the page, this is how I might go about it. Okay?